what the markets do is they give you the ability to make judgment calls, your understanding of the world. And if you're right, you get paid for it. And if you're wrong, you get hammered.
When you fight a long, hard battle and you come out at the end with, being an absolute winner, it's the battle that makes it feel good.
It's an intellectual sport. It's cruel because also it can be right for the wrong reasons and not know it. What about investing makes you happy? Well, there's lots of personal questions this month. Maybe it's the end of a year thing. Yeah. What about investing makes you happy? And what about sharing your knowledge with other people in setups like this? That's from Socken.
What gives us a kick is when finding areas of what we think of value in the world where no one would dare touch, would dare look at investing, to battle it out for things to be obviously nice to go your way as soon as you buy it. Natural gas stocks did, strange enough. Anyway, it doesn't always happen. And usually we're a couple of years too early. But when you fight a long, hard battle and you come out at the end with, being an absolute winner, it's the battle that makes it feel good. So we just take BMA, which is a bank in Argentina. We bought that along with 5 or 6 others towards the end of 2021. We bought more in 2022. But the initial investors, 2 years later, we had nothing to show for it. So it was October 2021, come October 2023, nothing to show for it. Same price. And then boom, this is a few days old. And the BMA is $110 now. It's gone up a lot since we put this chart in a few days ago. So that gives us a big kick. Sometimes it takes longer to work out, but there we go. That's what gives me a kick. Don't ask me why we feel good, but I think doing something that no one else does. I guess it's the ultimate contrarian thing. Perhaps it's a loner thing coming out in us, non-conformity, all those sorts of things. Nothing deep and meaningful, but that's what we try and do.
I think it's a pretty good pursuit, right? Like investing is an interesting thing by itself because you're trying to understand reality better than the average person.
Yes.
And it's sort of like the only thing you can do that financially rewards you for being right. You don't like to say that, and thinking that you're right is a bad idea. So it's that pursuit of your curiosity and trying to determine, trying to get over your own ego and biases. That's an interesting thing to do, and if you can get paid for it, it's not really like work.
Yeah.
Yes.
I see the world as like a big smorgasbord of information, and if you're curious, as I am, then you want to know largely about everything and how all the pieces move and how they interact with one another. So it's kind of like a laboratory experiment, except in real time. And then what the markets do is they give you the ability to make judgment calls on your understanding of the world. And if you're right, you get paid for it. And if you're wrong, you get hammered. And so there's a constant feedback, which is really valuable. So it kind of teaches you a lesson each and every time you go through any sort of experience. And it's either hardens you and makes you better at something, or it breaks you, or you see some success. But ultimately, it's like you have billions and billions of people who are trading the market. So every decision that anyone's making at any point in time actually affects the markets, and they don't have to be involved in buying and selling shares. Joe Blogg's walking down the street and filling up his car with gas and having the ability to do that. Like, that's a transaction that takes place. That impacts demand for fuel. It impacts the usage of his car. It impacts it's his choice of spend. He only has a certain amount of dollars in his wallet. He's choosing to spend it on fuel or on some other aspect. So there's billions of people making those decisions daily, and that's capital flows, right? So it's your ability to understand all of these pieces as best as you can, including politics, including then central banks, manipulation of the cost of capital, all these, there's literally thousands of things. I find that incredibly fascinating and endlessly curious about it. And so if you were, as I am, curious about that and you investigate it, there's no better job to have than what we do, which is to then say, what am I going to do with this information? Can I make something of it? And that's then a matter of saying, okay, well, if this is happening and that's happening, then I suspect, the probability of this sector or this company or anything else to do better than others. And so the deployment of capital based on that is is how you get to test your own intellect. And I can't think of doing anything.
It's an intellectual sport, and it's cruel because also, as we know, you can be right for the wrong reasons and not know it, which happens all the time. So it's something that continually makes you try and sharpen your intellectual sword and try not to think that you know more than you do.